Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother and sister, welcome back to Islamic Notes channel. Recently, a video went viral on an Instagram account showing Muslims gathering at Windsor Castle in England to hold a joint fast-breaking meal. This is related to King Charles III converting to Islam. Is that true? Let's find out the truth. The news first surfaced in early 2025 when an anonymous account on X posted a photo of King Charles III wearing traditional Middle Eastern clothing during a diplomatic visit to the Gulf states. The post was accompanied by a caption that stated, "Is this a sign that the King of England has converted to Islam?" Moreover, on Tuesday, April 3rd, 2025, at St. George's Hall, for the first time in its 1,000-year history, Windsor Castle, the official residence of the British royal family, held a Ramadan fast-breaking event attended by more than 350 participants from various backgrounds. The call to prayer echoes throughout the building as a sign of breaking the fast. Guests enjoy dates and say prayers before the main meal is served. The fast-breaking event was hosted free of charge by the London-based charity Ramadan Tent Project. One of the participants of the fast-breaking event held by the British Kingdom expressed his amazement to the BBC, saying the atmosphere of the event was extraordinary and felt like a dream. Simon Maples, Director of Visitor Operations at Windsor Castle, said that King Charles III had long supported religious diversity and encouraged interfaith dialogue. St. George's Hall itself is usually used to host heads of state and official British royal events. Many participants felt that the breaking of the fast at Windsor Castle was an unforgettable experience. "We never thought we would be here to break our fast. We have come a long way," said one Muslim woman who attended. Another, a history student, expressed her joy at being able to combine her Muslim identity with her love of history, calling the opportunity a privilege. Not only that, some participants even invited King Charles III to join the breaking of the fast during Ramadan. Omar Salha, founder and CEO of the Ramadan Tent Project, praised King Charles III as a great ambassador for societal unity. "We are very grateful for their support for the British Muslim community," he said. However, to date, there is no official evidence to confirm the claim, sparking speculation whether this is just a conspiracy theory or a deliberately created controversial narrative. Let's dig deeper into the facts, speculations, and implications of this issue. Since then, the narrative has spread like a virus, supported by several factors. 1. Diplomatic interests. As a head of state who is active in international diplomacy, Charles III is known to have close ties with Islamic countries such as Saudi Arabia and Qatar. His support for interfaith dialogue and the preservation of Islamic culture, such as Moorish architecture in Spain, has often been in the spotlight. 2. Public statements. In the 1990s, while still Prince of Wales, Charles once stated in a speech that he wanted to be a defender of faith in a broader sense, not just Christianity. This statement is now interpreted by some as an indication of his interest in Islam. 3. Personal lifestyle. Reports about Charles's preference for halal food and his interest in Sufi poetry, such as the works of Jalaluddin Rumi, have further fueled speculation. Also read, the frugal living lifestyle is increasingly attracting the younger generation in Indonesia. However, Buckingham Palace has yet to make an official statement to deny or confirm the rumors, which only adds to the confusion. King Charles III was once rumored to have converted to Islam. This was stated in 1996 by a Grand Mufti of Cyprus. He said that the future new King of England had secretly become a Muslim. Did you know that Prince Charles has converted to Islam? Yes, he is a Muslim, I cannot say more. But it happened in Turkey, yes, and he converted to Islam and it is fine, said the late Mufti Nazim al-Haqqani. Furthermore, al-Haqqani revealed to check how often King Charles III traveled to Turkey. "You will find that your future king is a Muslim," quoted from Middle East Eye. However, Buckingham Palace immediately responded and said that the statement was nonsense. Charles, who became king last week after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, has been a secret student of Muslims, and his admiration and knowledge of the Islamic faith is well documented. The 73-year-old, now a patron of the Church of England, has made several speeches while waiting on theological and historical topics relating to Muslims in Islam. He has even revealed that he has learned Arabic to better understand the Quran, a fact praised by the Imam of Cambridge Central Mosque last week in a sermon. Here are some of Charles III's most important references to Islam over the decades. Environmental and nature issues. King Charles III has long advocated for environmental issues and climate change, sometimes using Islamic theology for this issue. In a 1996 speech entitled A Sense of the Sacred, Building Bridges Between Islam and the West, the British monarch suggested that an appreciation of the Islamic view of the natural order would help us in the West to rethink and to become better at our practical stewardship of humankind and its environment, Charles said. The former husband of Princess Diana also outlined his views on Islam in a 2010 speech at Oxford's Center for Islamic Studies, which he has supported since 1993. From what he knew of Islamic teachings, an important principle that everyone should remember was that natural abundance has limits, according to King Charles III. These are not arbitrary limits. They are limits set by God, and as such, if my understanding of the Quran is correct, Muslims are commanded not to violate them. He went on to describe Islam as a religion that has one of the greatest treasuries of accumulated spiritual wisdom and knowledge available to humanity. A tradition, he said, was being obscured by the drive towards Western materialism. The uncomfortable truth is that we share this planet with the rest of creation for a very good reason, and that means we could not survive on our own without the intricately balanced web of life around us, said the father of Prince William and Prince Harry. For King Charles III, Islam had always taught this, and to ignore that lesson would be to fail to fulfill our contract with creation. He goes on to cite examples of Islamic city planning over the centuries, including irrigation systems in Spain 1,200 years ago, as examples of how prophetic teachings upheld long-term resource planning for the sake of short-term economics. Indeed, King Charles III's garden at his home in Gloucestershire was inspired by Islamic traditions and plants mentioned in the Quran. Danish cartoons and the Satanic verses. In 2006, during a visit to Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt, King Charles III criticized the publication a year earlier of Danish cartoons mocking the Prophet Muhammad. The true sign of a civilized society is the respect given to minorities and foreigners. The recent horrific row and outrage over the Danish cartoons shows the dangers that come from our failure to listen and respect what is precious and sacred to others. This is not the first time the former prince has reportedly contributed to the debate about Islam and free speech in the West. In 2014, author Martin Amis told Vanity Fair that he had argued with the British king over his apparent refusal to support Salman Rushdie after a fatwa was issued against him following the publication of the Satanic verses. Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini declared a fatwa against Rushdie, whose 1989 novel was accused of insulting Islam. Islam and the West. King Charles III has spoken about the need for people in the West to better understand Islam, particularly during his much-quoted October 1993 speech. If there is a lot of misunderstanding in the West about the nature of Islam, there is also a lot of ignorance about our own cultural and civilizational debt to the Islamic world. This is a failure that, I think, stems from the historical constraints we have inherited, he said at the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies nearly 3 decades ago. He said that Islam has preserved a metaphysical and unitary view of ourselves and the world around us, which the West has lost after the scientific revolution. He also asked people to resist the temptation to associate extremism with Islam. We should not be tempted to believe that extremism is in some way a Muslim trait in essence. Extremism is no more a monopoly of Islam than it is of other religions, including Christianity, he said. In his speech at the 2013 World Islamic Economic Forum in London, King Charles III demonstrated his detailed knowledge of Islamic finance and the benefits he believed it could bring to global financial markets. It is certainly a good idea to explore how the spirit inherent in Islamic moral economics can enable a fair and ethical approach to the management of systemic risks in economics, in business and finance, he said. It would also be a good idea to explore how the spirit inherent in Islamic moral economy can enable a fair and ethical approach to the management of systemic risks in economics, business, and finance. The risk-sharing mechanism implicit in musharaka works, for example, with the lender sharing the borrower's risk, the idea of mudaraba and profit sharing, said King Charles III. This is very different from the conventional way of finance transferring risk quickly and frequently to others with only one-way profits. He then uses the Islamic concept of usury to comment on the equitable distribution of consumption of natural resources. I suspect that if the Quran's strict command against usury were applied to the current economic system, the debts we have effectively incurred for future generations by depleting the Earth's natural capital would certainly be discovered. Being usurious is absolutely unacceptable, he said. This is why financial and business organizations that uphold the principles embedded in Islam can help in forging a more ethical approach that leads to just outcomes. Muslim influence in the world. King Charles III has often commented on Muslim contributions to science, art, and academia. We need to remember that the West owes a debt of gratitude to the Islamic scholars, because it was thanks to them that during the Dark Ages in Europe, the treasures of classical learning were kept alive, he said at Al-Azhar University in 2006. 3 years earlier, at the Markfield Institute for Higher Education in Leicestershire, he had also commented on the Islamic contribution to mathematics. Anyone who doubts the contribution of Islam and Muslims to the European Renaissance should, as an exercise, try to do some simple arithmetic using Roman numerals. Thank goodness for Arabic numerals and the concept of zero, which were introduced into European thinking by Muslim mathematicians, he said. In her famous 1993 speech, she spoke of the advancement of women's rights in Muslim countries ahead of some in the West. Islamic countries such as Turkey, Egypt, and Syria gave women the vote as early as Europe, and much earlier than in Switzerland. In these countries, women have long enjoyed equal pay and the opportunity to play a full working role in their societies. Recently, a shocking rumor has been circulating on social media in several bold forms, claiming that King Charles III, the reigning monarch of the United Kingdom, UK, has allegedly converted to Islam. This news emerged after several posts on Platform X and articles on alternative news sites suggested that the king's behavior, statements, and lifestyle indicated a tendency toward Islamic values. However, as of now, there is no official evidence confirming these claims, sparking speculation about whether this is merely a conspiracy theory or a deliberately crafted controversial narrative. Let's delve deeper into the facts, speculations, and the impact of this issue. The rumor first surfaced in early 2025 when an anonymous account on X posted a photo of King Charles III wearing traditional Middle Eastern attire during a diplomatic visit to Gulf countries. The post was captioned, "Is this a sign that the King of England has converted to Islam?" Double asterisk. This is the end of our video. If you enjoy Islamic content like this, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.